Like, how are you on the opposite side of like lynching should be over?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's just bumming me out now. We need to stop. Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Dell.
And this is the Black Catch-Up, where we're catching up on iconic black media we missed out on in our more conservative religious childhood.
All right, so today we watched the
United States versus Billie Holiday. Yes, we did. This is a newer one. This came out early 2021. So we were actually going to see this like earlier, but I guess now we're catching up on it still. So here's the IMDb. Follows Holiday during her career as she is targeted by the Federal Department of Narcotics with an undercover sting operation led by black federal agent Jimmy Fletcher, with whom she has a tumultuous affair. Which, more or less, yes.
You have to remember what happened for a second. Yeah, that is what happened.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah, as usual, starting off with things we liked.
Yes.
You
can kick this.
I guess I can. Yeah, I can start. I thought this was just a very beautiful movie. Like between the shots, like the music, I even thought like the lighting was like really just beautifully shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like again, like her like singing was beautiful. So, yeah, just like overall, it was just a very beautiful movie to watch. Like there was just a lot of beauty in this movie.
Yeah, it was really pretty. Even when she was like doing heroin, like there was just something so like, almost like, not fantastical, just like very, almost elegant in a way she's doing. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like poetic almost, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it really did capture like almost like a supernova that was like shining so bright but had like demons in the background. Like there were parts of it that like really captured that essence. That being said, Andra Day did a fabulous job emoting in that movie. She had some really meaty like scenes to cry through and stuff like that. The one scene I put in particular was the aftermath of the lynching, which leads to her singing "Strange Fruit." That was really powerful and beautifully. Like Andra Day did a fabulous job. She won the Golden Globe for this performance, and she was nominated for an Oscar. And I can see why. She did so wonderfully.
Yeah, I thought Andra Day was amazing in this one as well. Like you said, like just very like
fabulous.
powerful acting, just showing like such a range of emotions. And like putting on the straight face to like get up on stage and like sing. I guess so. Yeah, she was amazing in this one. I guess my like favorite scene in this one was kind of same to like that same lynching scene, but that whole scene of her and the detective guy taking the drugs, and then it kind of enters that almost like trippy state where they're like in the present but kind of living within a flashback. I thought that whole scene where they go through like all her past trauma, I thought that scene was just amazing. Just from like how we got to learn about her, and I don't think there were even like many words being spoken during that kind of time. It was mostly just like music playing in the background, and just her just like you just see like her like kind of breaking down, crying in these different points of time in like her past.
Yeah.
So I just thought that whole like scene was just beautifully done.
Yeah. The last thing I had was the club cabaret scenes in general. I liked them, but especially the one where she was like crowd surfing and she was like high. It wasn't like the first one where she was back. It was like a couple ones after she had like been to prison, and like she was just being paid under the table, and like they were like paying people off to not say that she was singing at their clubs, but just like she was like crowd surfing with everyone and like really interact. That just was like definitely like a star shining super bright scene. What I was talking about. I just really liked the energy of that scene. Like where you can tell she's doing something that's like self-destructive a bit, because she's like still taking heroin, but it's kind of like almost like glamorized in a way.
Yeah, like the beauty behind the madness, or beauty in the madness kind of thing. I thought there was a lot of that in this movie. Like this movie definitely had that kind of fantastical kind of like undertone to the whole thing. I guess the last thing I thought we got like a really good sampling of her music.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I feel like isn't the case for some of these movies, but I just wanted to point it out in this one. Like I thought we got like a really good sample size of her music, and like good like long scenes of it too, and like I don't know, I just enjoyed that aspect
Yeah.
of this one.
I think it had to do with the fact that Andre Day is a great singer. Like, she has a music career before an acting career, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, we have this wonderful vocalist in here. We're going to use her.
Yeah. Definitely.
So on
did
to
you have anything
negative.
else? Or?
No, I don't have anything else. That was it for me.
Okay, yeah. We can get on to negatives.
Yes.
Is you want to start off, or?
So, this movie, it hits the ground running in a very bad way. Like, she's immediately in jail. We don't see any inkling as to why Jimmy Fletcher even wants to be a federal agent. And we don't see the setup to the arrest. We just see the arrest, so it's kind of like jarring how this happens. It's sort of a thing where it's like, we need to arrest her so she stops singing that song. And the next thing you know, they're like, and she's arrested. And then she's in jail. And she's not even in jail. And granted, she is in jail for like a year or so. But like, she's not in jail for that long. It just, we didn't, when you hear the name the United States versus Billie Holiday, it's how a court case reads out. Because I was reading her Wikipedia while I was watching this, and she said it felt as though it really was everyone in the world, or like at least in the US, against me. So it's like, you don't feel that, even though that's the title of the movie somehow. You don't feel as though everyone's against her. Like, you don't feel like, it doesn't feel like the United States is against her. It almost feels like the entire United States loves her, but still, like, doesn't want her to, like, speak out about black people, as is the case with, like, I was getting some parallels of, like, Muhammad Ali when we watched the Blood Brothers documentary about how Ali, like, threw his Olympic gold medal in the river after he won it because he came back and still, like, couldn't sit at the counter at, like, a diner or something like that. That gave me very much this, where it's like, she's so beloved and so wonderful and making all this money at the top of her game, but, like, they're still, like, not treating her well because she's black. Like, the scene where she couldn't go up the regular elevator because she's black, she has to go down the servants' quarter, but it's like, and they kept saying, but she's Billie Holiday, and it's like, but Billie Holiday's black. Like, there was that undercurrent in the movie, but, like, it still didn't feel as though it was the United States against Billie Holiday.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I guess I had kind of two things written down that I might all kind of combine a little bit here, but one, like, I also didn't feel like we got a lot of that, U.S. government versus her. You know, I felt a lot more of, like, her battling drug addiction, which, again, that was, like, definitely part of it, but I expected to see a lot more of United States versus her, and, like,
yeah,
I guess, you know, like, motivations are, like, okay, what are the bad outcomes that came from her singing this song? Because it seemed like most people wanted her to sing the song, except for the government, and, like, as someone who is black and, like, understands that, like, I understood that, but I don't think I understood that from the movie.
No, you don't understand from the movie. Because they're, like, it incites riots, but you never, like, the only riot we see in because of that song, at least for the way I'm remembering it, is, like, the first time she's, like, about to start singing it, and then the police are, like, or the federal government are, like, about to attack her, and then everyone's like, get her off the stage, she's about to sing the song.
her people get her off the stage, yeah.
But, it doesn't feel, because, the one movie, this is all, like, the way I wrote it is, like, a bunch of notes, but it really is the same point. It's just different pieces of it. But the way I wrote it was, like, this movie has the potential to be kind of like Judas and the Black Messiah, where you see the perspective of, like, Jimmy Fletcher, the federal agent who's in there to take her down. Plus you see Billie Holiday, and you don't see, like, the back and forth in his head about, like, why he's doing what he's doing. They, like, bring it up shortly, like, don't you ever feel like you're betraying black people? Like he said with this other federal agent, where they're all in the basement of the FBI or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I guess that is something to think about. And then they never talk about it again. And I'm like, no, talk about it. That's, like, the meat of a movie. That's, like, actions that can happen in a movie. Like, these are conflicts that can make a movie. Like, why are we not talking about things that make a movie? Like, he said that, and it just, like, went, oh, that is something. And I'm like, well, talk about it, guys. Stop bringing up interesting topics and just, like, leaving.
Yeah.
But, like, it
and
does.
So that kind of goes into the. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Mine's just all the same point, more or less.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of goes into my second point of, like, because they didn't really focus on the U.S. versus Billie Holiday or, like, the race relation thing, they focused so much on the drug usage and her fighting that, like, the whole plot itself just seemed kind of thin the whole movie.
Yeah.
and it seemed like they just sacrificed so much for like cinematography, or they sacrificed so much plot for that cinematography.
Yeah.
And so it really just felt like a thin plot, kind of just dragged out with like, again, beautiful shots, beautiful singing, but like when you actually like think about what happened during the movie, like you didn't really get enough
really
of that US versus Billie Holiday. It was just a lot of her just like, I don't know, going through her life, dealing with drug addiction. It's like, yes, that was part of it, but there was a lot more potential, and like a lot of things were like glanced over that could have been touched on a lot more, and would have made for a much better movie, or just given us more to latch on to in this one.
Even the build up to her singing Strange Fruit, though like one time she does in the movie, while I did like the scene, it kind of doesn't like, it's not earned well enough for me. It's kind of like, you would think that if this were really the United States versus Billie Holiday in the way that I want it to be, you would kind of see like them gathering evidence on her and da-da-da-da-da, and like you would see Fletcher like bring the information back to the FBI a little bit more and all that stuff, and you would see every single crowd she's in play Strange Fruit, and you would see that like powder keg and everything slowly start to build up and the tension rise, and like she's about to play it, she's about to do this, is this going to be the time she does it? I don't know, is she going to do it now? And then it would like finally bubble over and she would play Strange Fruit, and that would almost be like a climax in the movie somehow. I don't know, but like it doesn't like build up to anything. And another thing I said was that my thoughts are all over the place because this movie was all over the place, and the movie doesn't tell you how they did anything. They would kind of just say something, and then in the next scene it would have happened. It was very, very odd. Like I mentioned the part where she immediately goes to jail. That happens almost instantaneously. They're like, yeah, she needs to be in jail. And then the next thing we see is her like being arrested. And I'm like, how did we get here? Like, why do we know that? Like, how is this happening? And that happens a couple of other times where someone would just say something, and then the next scene it would have happened, and we don't get like the buildup of how it happened. We kind of just are like, I guess this is happening now. Like, it was so odd. It was just so odd.
I feel like they did a lot of the explaining with those like cinematography shots of just like panning slowly over someone crying, or like just panning over the courtroom and showing like faces of people. But I don't know, like sometimes like I wanted a little more from this one. I just wanted a little more from this one.
And then I think my last point. Oh no, I have two other points. The time jumping in the movie, terrible idea. Because they jumped by like very odd increments where it'd be like 3 months. A year, 6 weeks, and like, no, give me like, that just goes to show how unfocused it was. They kind of just kept going like little tiny weird increments instead of just kind of like trying to make a story that was like woven through, and like we would have gotten that time was passing through, like time passing and things changing and things being different and like moving forward. But because nothing ever like moved forward and we were kind of just stuck in this like glitzy haze of being backstage with Billie Holiday, we didn't ever see like time pass in a way that made sense. It kind of just was like, and here's the next concert she played, guys. Like, oh my goodness. And then the last thing I had was the interview concept of this movie. Very ineffective. They like barely did that.
Wait, what's the interview concept? Maybe I missed this part. I don't know what this part is.
So in the beginning, you kind of see Billie Holiday talking to that reporter where for like, I don't know if it's like Vanity Fair or something like. I honestly can't remember whatever magazine or whatever that she was doing this for. But he asked her like, "What's it like to be a colored woman in America?" And she's like, "You would never ask that to Doris Day." And he is like, "Doris Day is not colored." And then it like goes on to like tell the story, and like, it's supposed to be the framing device, but it comes in like I think total we saw it like 3 times maybe. Possibly 4. I'm willing to give you a generous 4, because I will say I did leave the room to get another seltzer water and I forgot to pause. So I'll give you a generous 4. But like every once in a while it would like come back in, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess she is being interviewed by someone. Like, why are we doing this? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, okay. No, I do vaguely remember that. I remember the beginning scene. I remember like a few more scenes that came up of like her sitting down being interviewed. But I don't think it added much.
It didn't add anything. Because like when you do an interview type thing, it should be a framing device if you're doing it right. And it wasn't a framing device. Because this movie was so like scattershot. It didn't focus enough on the FBI agent so that we can really see his turmoil. And it didn't focus enough on Billie Holiday that we could really learn about her. We didn't go deep enough into Billie Holiday to like get really her perspective of like feeling like the world was against her, and we didn't get enough into like Jimmy Fletcher's perspective to like even figure out why he was a federal agent, because they like mentioned that his dad owned a morgue or something like that, or like or his dad was some, and that's how they had so much money. But like he never explained why he wanted to be an FBI agent or anything like that, especially to the extent that he was like screwing over Billie Holiday.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Like he literally never explains it.
No, they really didn't. I guess toward the end, he like kind of started helping out, and like there was that scene where he like calls his calls his manager or boss or whatever, and is like, yeah, Billie Holiday hasn't been using anything, and like lies for her, but still, it didn't really. Yeah, he didn't really explain why he became an FBI agent.
Like the most, I remember the scene where he was like on the stand, and they were like. Where he like kind of made it seem as though it could have been a plant because it was a plant, but other than that, he doesn't really like show why he's doing anything, which was irritating.
And it's probably less him, more the movie. The movie doesn't show a lot of motivation for a lot of actions in this one.
No.
But
so ratings.
Ratings time.
I guess first.
I'll go first. I give this one a 2.5. Despite like the plot just being really thin and not getting enough, I thought it was a very beautiful movie. Very well acted by Andra Day at least, and again, like I got a good taste of her music and just enjoyed the beauty of this one. And I think I think it was really kind of the beauty and the acting that kind of helped this one a lot because again, like the plot was kind of thin. There just wasn't a lot to get from this movie, but aside from, again, the beauty and, like, just watching someone act well, So, this one was a 2.5. Not the best, but not, like, terrible,
Yeah. It pains me to give this a 2 out of 5 because I really wanted to like this movie. Like, I wanted to see it for a bit, but this movie had the energy of someone who was writing a paper on Billie Holiday based off of her Wikipedia while like listening to her greatest hits album. Like that's what it read as to me watching it. While reading that, like I feel as though I could have gotten the same energy if I just like read her court cases and like listened to her greatest hits album and like had a slideshow of pictures playing on the background or something like that. I didn't feel like I got to know her better, like the ins and outs of her personality better, and I was actually a little more confused after watching it. And it sucks because I think Andra Day acted her butt off. And like you said, this looked really beautiful. And I really do, I'll say this again, I really feel as if this movie had the potential to be similar to Judas and the Black Messiah, just where you have like, because it had like a black traitor type of person in there. And you have someone who's like so revered in the black community, who's like speaking up for black causes. Like even though like they want her to just like sit pretty and sing that other song that's about love or whatever. And like she even says at one point, she's like, I don't even think people know that I have these thoughts about like lynchings and stuff like that. And it's like, yes, like this, she's not a pillar in like black society, kind of how other people were, but she really was like speaking on like a really important issue, and like the government was trying to silence her, and we didn't really feel as though it was like, we didn't get the tension of the government trying to silence you. That's like the easiest thing to gain tension from. The literal government is trying to silence you. How was there no tension in that? And there was no driving force to like anybody's actions. So while Andra Day like acted her butt off and looked gorgeous and sang beautifully and everything looked gorgeous, it was kind of like if you like poked it just a little bit, everything just fell away because there was nothing holding this movie up.
Yeah, no, like I don't know why they made the decision to lean into the drug thing so heavily instead of the U.S. versus Billie Holiday, but
if they didn't call it the U.S. versus Billie Holiday, I would have been fine with them leaning into the drug thing so hard.
Yeah,
but they made it seem like you were gonna have the United States of America against one person.
Yeah. But final question: do you wish you saw this one sooner, or do you wish it was made sooner? I don't know how we do this question.
I don't know either. I'll answer the do I wish I saw this sooner. Despite all my bitching about this movie, yes. Only because I did wanted to see it like a year ago at this point or so. And that hasn't changed. I do still wish I saw it sooner. Not because I think it's good, but because like I kind of want to get better at wanting to see like a current movie and then just seeing it. So in that way, yeah, I wish I saw it sooner.
Yeah, all reasons are valid, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was a no for me. Yeah, I don't really have a reason to want to see this one sooner. Again, I didn't get much out of this, like except getting more familiar with her music, you know. But yeah, I didn't gain too much from this one, so it was kind of
like I said, I didn't want to see it earlier because I liked it. Just like I wanted to see this like back when it first came out. I wish I saw it then, just in a sense of like I want to see movies when they first come out. I don't know.
Yeah, no, understandable. But yeah, that was the United States versus Billie Holiday.
Oh.
YouTube housekeeping, like, comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell for notifications. If you have any movie suggestions for us, you can leave them in the comments down below. We do movies on Tuesdays and Fridays. All of our socials will be linked in the description box down below, and we'll see you next time to catch up. Bye. If I were making this movie, it definitely would have focused on the court stuff more with that title. Like, if you didn't make it that title, if you just said, like, Billie Holiday takes the world or something like that.
The life and times of Billie Holiday.
Yeah, then it's like, who cares what you said? But you said the United States versus Billie Holiday. You made this seem like this was going to be a court case. Not only did the big court case happen, like, in the first 20 minutes of the movie, but it took place over, like, the course of 1 minute.
Yep.
It was the quickest court scene I've ever seen. Actually, that's not true. Life had a quicker court scene.
Oh, Life was real quick. That doesn't even count. That was a parody movie, like, almost, you know, so I didn't count too much.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, Life is the only movie I can think of that had a quicker court scene.